Power of 10 is a roguelike space shooter where you're collecting resources to power shields and, therefore, saving people's lives. This is a game more about resource and time management than shooting everything out of the sky. In fact, it's important to conserve ammo the best you can. I'll get to that and more. But first, I want to mention that Power of 10 was in early access for a year and a half, and now it's having its full release. Now, with that out of the way, let's continue. You're somewhat forced into saving planets from an armada of enemy ships called Deadeye. They show up to a planet and just blow it up with 1,000 missiles. It seems a little too extreme. You think they would have some demands or they could come to some kind of agreement. This is pure evil. Also, it feels wasteful to blow up an entire planet for no reason. What if, I don't know, your favorite cuisine is on that planet? To save a planet, you must activate their planetary shield, which requires minerals and gas. This shield has been derelict for decades, which raises a few questions. They know the name of the enemy and that they're only a few minutes away, but they didn't even think to work on powering up this shield? This isn't like any sci-fi novel I've ever read. Not one single planet was ready. Are you kidding me? Let's move on to how you'll be getting the minerals and gas. Well, blowing up space rocks. You fly to an uninhabited planet or asteroid cluster, destroy the rocks, and then magically the materials come out. Your ship vacuums them up into their meager storage. There isn't much else to say. Some rocks are highlighted, which drop more materials, so it's best to destroy them first so you don't waste your time and ammo. Look, mining space rocks for materials is not my thing. I think it's really silly. I didn't enjoy it in Elite Dangerous, and I don't really like it here. If you like it, that's great. I just don't think it's as exciting as the other parts of this game. Anyway, then you fly back to the shield and deposit the resources into the shield. Well, you could have done this in reverse if you already had the materials in your ship's storage from the previous solar system. If you took a long time, then the Deadeye Armada might have shown up already, but you can still swoop in, power up the shield. It's messy, and you have to dodge all the enemy ships, but it can be done to save the few poor souls still left on the planet. Luckily, once you do this, the bigger enemy ships leave so you don't have to take them head on, because you don't want to. It's tricky and a waste of ammo. Note that since the enemy has left the solar system, you're now free to do whatever you want. So you can go check all the shops, the special events, and fill your ship's hold with resources. This is a really good idea and makes the next solar system a little easier if you can already have the resources to power up a shield from the start. It does feel a little cheap though. Let me reiterate that you do not want to take the enemy head on. A few smaller ships are fine, but the big ones will probably destroy you. And as I keep mentioning, you don't want to waste ammo. Power of 10 has a limited ammo system, which you must share with mining. If you do run out, it's basically a death sentence, but you're not completely screwed. The ship will still fire, but at a significantly reduced rate. I'm not sure how you would survive any attack or mine minerals fast enough. That said, I noticed the ammo seems more plentiful than the last time I played, and I picked up a few ship upgrades that helped. For me, it makes me nervous to run out, but it might take a lot of mistakes. I'm not a huge fan of managing the ammo, but I can understand that if you give players unlimited ammo, then they're going to want to destroy everything in the system, when you're really meant to be running away from the enemies. Because the goal of the game is to save lives. The progress bars are on the right-hand side of the screen under the map. If you fill up the bar and save enough lives, then you can jump to the next area and start over saving lives there. If you're wondering, it looks very similar to the first area. Once you save a planet, they will drop boxes and maybe a ship upgrade. Boxes can contain gold, new weapons, and temporary items, single-use items. First, we can talk about the weapons. Your starting weapon on the first ship is very basic with a one-shot laser. It's not weak though, and you could use it through the entire game. But I've seen fire weapons, triple-shot lasers, acid weapons, and more. There's too many to name them all here. There are also weird ones that shoot wildly, so much so I'm not sure how useful it is. Keep in mind you can carry 2 at a time, and the game lets you swap back and forth to the ones you find, so at least you get a chance to try before you permanently switch. I have my favorites though, but you won't know until you really get a chance to use them in combat. Second, we can talk about ship upgrades. Again, there's a wide range in Power of 10, from upgrades that give you a homing missile every time you use your special ability, to one that removes resources every time you jump to a new solar system, but gives you some coin if it removes a lot. What? I'm not gonna lie, that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Another example, if you spend 15 or more ammo, your ship will apply a random status effect on nearby enemies. I don't know. So it's about your playstyle and which weapons you currently have that will help you pick the upgrade you want. Finally, we can talk about the different ships. The starting ship is slow and only has the basic laser weapon, but it does have a high amount of armor. It also has a shield as its special ability. To unlock new ships, you must find them in the game and give some of your resources to power them up. You can switch to it in the middle of your run, but I find that incredibly risky. You kind of don't know what you're getting into. Also, you have to memorize the shape of the ships you've already unlocked, because the game doesn't tell you if you found something new. It kinda sucks to use your resources to unlock it, since those are somewhat precious, but the amount is fairly minimal. I don't think any one ship is more powerful than another, so the starting choice seems to be more about playstyle, and you know what, sometimes it's nice to just switch it up. So new with the full release is a brand new story, except I don't get it. The introduction is interesting and I love the way it's delivered, but I can't figure out how it's related to the gameplay. It seems like you went on a mission, then that mission went wrong, and you're kind of lost in space. Okay, I'm all caught up there. While you're playing, there are short messages delivered from nearby planets. They're on the right side of the screen under the map. Usually, they're happy to see me and surprised. Do they know who I am? How do they know I'm not the enemy? Honestly, I have trouble piecing this together and how it's related. It doesn't really drive me to want to play more. This is a miniature complaint, as none of this contaminates the gameplay. I had to mention it though because the developer worked hard to add a story since the last time I covered the game. Unrelated to that, but also important to know, are the global upgrades. When you lose a run, the score screen is shown, which is nice, but more importantly, the game tells you if you've unlocked anything. There's a global game account leveling up system you're constantly working on. The details are hidden though, and you only know what you've gotten once you see the end screen. It's a little strange. I can't find what I unlocked anywhere. I can't find what I will unlock playing more either. It would be nice to see both of those so I can know how much stronger I'm getting or if there's something exciting I'm going to unlock on the next run. So far, I've collected a new skin for my ships and +5 to starting ammo. Not bad, but also not very exciting. Overall, Power of 10 is decent, and I respect the game. I have far too many questions about the choices that were made though. While none of them particularly ruined the experience, I feel like there's a lot of missing potential to make the game a little more inviting while not ruining what it has. I did enjoy many moments risking my ship trying to save a planet, and the combat is pretty good. I can't outright recommend this game, but if you think it looks fun, then you should probably give it a shot. I might have some bias since the mining isn't really for me. Thanks for watching. As always, I hope this was helpful. Subscribe for more videos about indie games.